The FDA has also begun assessing Sinovac's application for an EUA. Mayor Joy Belmonte is not putting Quezon City under stricter lockdown after a resident of Barangay Kamuning tested positive for the UK COVID variant. We'll take a look at Marikina City's cold storage facility for COVID vaccines. And the Makati Police denies allegations of harassment and coercion made by respondents in Christine Dacera's death. How will this affect ongoing investigations? And the U.S. House has impeached President Trump again, this time around for inciting insurrection. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. Pfizer is the first vaccine maker to be granted an emergency use authorization in the Philippines, while Sinovac's EUA application is now up for evaluation. Maricel Halili with a report.
The Food and Drug Administration has approved the emergency use of Pfizer-BioNTech shot in the country. This means that the vaccine has been cleared for mass inoculation among people aged 16 and above. FDA Director General Eric Domingo notes that the shot has an efficacy rate of 95% based on phase 3 trials.
And that the benefit of using the vaccine outweighs the known and potential risks.
Domingo also reveals that Chinese firm Sinovac has committed its application for EUA in the country. But he clarifies that requirements are not yet complete pending the results of the late-stage trial of its jab. Recall that the Sinovac vaccine has registered only 50% efficacy in Brazil, much lower than other shots.
We will have to ask them for the clinical trial phase 3 report, which I believe maybe they might be collating now kasi several countries yata ginawa ito. And maybe consolidating that report.
Despite this, no less than President Duterte has defended the government's purchase of vaccines from Sinovac. Duterte assures the public that the shot is as good as those developed by companies in Western countries.
Hindi nagkulang ang Chinese. Hindi sila nagkulang sa otak. Bright itong in-check at they would not venture kung hindi sapat, it is not safe, sure, and secure.
The president insists that officials has made the right decision given the limited global supply of vaccines. Duterte has this to say to local government units which have chosen to procure AstraZeneca shots over that of Sinovac.
You can choose any vaccine you like to buy. Wala kaming pakialam kung ano ang pipiliin ninyo. That's one thing. Hindi kami makialam sa lahat ng bagay in the purchase. But maybe, I don't know. Alam mo kasi may batas tayo na lahat ng medisina, of whatever nature, and whatever be characteristics, magnaan talaga muna ng pagsilip sa gobyerno.
Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez says Moderna and Novavax will also be open for tripartite agreement with LGUs. According to Galvez, Pfizer may start the delivery of its shots next month, to be followed by Sinovac and AstraZeneca. He adds that Gamaleya from Russia and Novavax from India are expected to come in by first quarter this year.
Sir, yung pagbili po natin ng vaccine ay yun po ay laging naka-anchored sa inyong guidance na ang kukunin natin na vaccine ay safe, effective.
The Health Department, for its part, is now preparing the storage facilities ahead of the arrival of vaccines. For News 5, Maricel Halili, we are One News.
Contact tracing is ongoing for the first UK COVID variant case in the Philippines. Despite the presence of the more contagious variant, health experts say there's no need to panic. Greg Gregorio tells us why.
The more infectious COVID-19 UK variant has now arrived in the Philippines. The patient is a 29-year-old male residing in Quezon City who traveled to the United Arab Emirates with his girlfriend last December 27 via Emirates flight EK335. Records show that both of them tested negative in RT-PCR tests before and after arriving in Dubai pursuant to their protocols. They are both real estate agents who went to Dubai for a business meeting last December 30. Apart from this, they also visited some tourist spots during their stay. They flew back to the Philippines last January 7. Upon their arrival, they underwent RT-PCR testing again and were placed under quarantine while waiting for the results. On the following day, the male patient tested positive for COVID-19.
Undergoing siya ngayon ng treatment for the pneumonia.
After the Philippine Genome Center confirmed that he also tested positive for the UK variant, authorities immediately conducted intensified contact tracing.
So naka-isolate na po ngayon yung mga birth na sumundo sa kanya, yung nag-asikaso sa kanya dun sa barangay quarantine facility.
The health department said it is still unsure if he caught the virus in Dubai.
Marami pong factors that we need to consider, like the number of days from the time that they left the Philippines until they reached Dubai. Ano ba yung mga naging activities in Dubai?
While the patient's partner tested negative for COVID-19, she is also under isolation in a quarantine facility. His parents, who were his close contacts, were also brought to a facility and will undergo swab testing. Based on the flight manifest of the EK332, his flight going back to the Philippines, 159 co-passengers of the patient were already identified. 58% or 92 passengers were already contacted, but only 52 responded. Concerned regional and city epidemiology and surveillance units have been tapped to contact other passengers of the Emirates flight. DOH is also working with the Interior Department for bolstered contact tracing of up to third-degree close contacts. Despite the presence of a more contagious COVID-19 variant, health experts assured the public that minimum health standards are effective in preventing the transmission of the virus. For News 5, Greg Gregorio, we are One News.
Now, despite this development, Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte sees no basis in locking down one barangay in Kamuning. The mayor has assured her constituents that a stricter community quarantine is not forthcoming. Instead, Belmonte says they're relying on the implementation of strict health protocols, active testing, and contact tracing. The QC mayor also noted that the patient who tested positive for the UK variant did not have any close contact with any resident within the barangay.
Bukod dyan, nung tinignan ko yung datos ng barangay Kamuning, nakita ko that Kamuning is in fact one of the barangays in our city with the lowest number of COVID positive cases. And we have not observed any clustering yet there or any community transmission. However, in the future, if we do observe these things that for me are the basis of a lockdown, then yes, we will of course take these necessary precautionary measures.
The DOH reported just over 1,900 new COVID-19 infections today. And this brings the caseload to 494,600, 25,600 of which are still active. 40 people died of the virus overnight, bringing the death toll to more than 9,700. On the other hand, more than 740 people recovered from the disease, bringing total recoveries to over 459,000. Here are other stories we're keeping our eyes on. San Juan City Mayor Francis Zamora led the two-day dry run for the city's planned vaccination program. The city initially ordered 100,000 doses of AstraZeneca's vaccine, which will cover 50,000 residents. The LGU has also set up vaccination sites in key public areas and health stations. The San Juan Gym has been designated as the main injection center. 6 cold storage units are now on standby in Marikina City ahead of the arrival of COVID-19 shots. Mayor Marcy Teodoro says they plan to deploy staff for house-to-house inoculation. Teodoro also assured residents that a simulation will be conducted for the vaccination program. The free RT-PCR testing for arriving passengers over at the Davao International Airport has been temporarily suspended. This as Davao City redirects its resources to address the local transmission of COVID-19 cases in the area. Authorities say the free swab testing will resume once the Los Amigos COVID-19 lab is operational. We'll have more stories after this quick break. Stay with us. You are still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. The NCRPO denies subjecting respondents in the Christine Dacera case to harassment. One person of interest earlier alleged that he was forced by the police to lie regarding the flight attendant's death. To tell us more, Patricia Manguna joins us live from Camp Crame in Quezon City. Hi, Pat. What did the police have to say about this?
Sean, the NCRPO chief, Brigadier General Vicente Danao Jr., said that he denies any form of torture or coercion by Makati police, which were alleged by the suspects in the death of Christine Dacera. Danao insisted that Makati Police Chief Colonel Harold Depositar said himself that the suspects were not forced to say that there was illegal drugs involved. Danao says they are puzzled by this new revelation from the camp of the suspects since no such allegations have come up even in their previous statements in social media. Sean?
All right, Pat, how do we see this development affecting ongoing investigations? Was there any talk of that?
Sean, Danao was saying that if the suspects will have to pursue recanting their statement, which was made under oath, they will have to be charged with perjury. And this will also affect the credibility of the suspects in the defense of their case. Sean?
All right, Pat, of course, the big mystery here also are the occupants in room 2207 beside the room of Christine Dacera. Have we heard about their identity so far, or have they spoken up so far, whether or not anonymous?
Sean, the NCRPO has not revealed the identities of these persons or individuals who were booked in room 2207. But the NCRPO is encouraging them to appear before the authorities and tell their side of the story. Meanwhile, the NCRPO also said they will be amending their case with additional respondents from 11 to 19, so which means there are also additional suspects involved here that they believe will have to be charged with rape and homicide. Sean?
All right, thank you so much for that update. Pat Mangune joining us live from Camp Crame in Quezon City. In world news, the U.S. House of Representatives has voted to once again impeach outgoing President Donald Trump. The 232 to 197 vote makes Trump the only U.S. president to be impeached twice in the lower chamber of Congress. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says that Trump incited insurrection in the Capitol riot, which left 5 people dead. The House will now determine how quickly to send the impeachment articles to the Senate, which will then hold their own trial. And this might result in Trump's removal from office and/or disqualification to hold any government position in the future. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.